All right. Are you getting used to seeing us by now? It's Katie and Dr. Heather again for, I guess we can't call it comfy couch because it's a couch in the sunroom. Okay, session 3. So today we're actually, I think, going to backtrack a little bit because I keep getting these questions, and so does Dr. Heather, on exactly what is this? Like, what is it? And I think we're overthinking it as a community where it's such a simple conversation. And I think when I was first introduced to Keto S, there was no research. All I could do was read like 4 articles on beta hydroxybutyrate that I read over and over. And to me, it was simple. Where I think now there's so many resources and so much research and so many different claims that we are not making, but other people are. We're making no medical claims today. We're just talking about what we're doing. And I think that's what we need to really clear up.
Yeah.
So, what is ketosis? Let's go simple.
So we're going to go way back to the basics. And we know that we have studied ketones for almost 100 years. So it's really not a new conversation, but we've studied ketones for over 100 years. And it's very, very simple. We've been making ketones our whole entire life. So there's a plane overhead, so we're sitting outside in the sun porch. It's a
beautiful day.
If you're going to eat a carbohydrate, good or bad, donut, orange, broccoli, our body breaks that down into glucose and we get fuel. Of course, we get other vitamins and minerals and stuff from the fruits and veggies. If we eat a fat, like if I have olives or avocados, nuts, a seed, coconut oil, butter, olive oil on my salad, it breaks down into ketones. There are actually 3 separate ketones. There's beta hydroxybutyrate, acetoacetate, and acetone. Beta hydroxybutyrate gets most of the media and most of the clinical study because it's the most abundant one. It produces the highest amount of efficiency, almost 38% more energy than glucose.
Okay, repeat that. Did you hear what she said? This was an eye-opener for me. So we're not overthinking it, but I also want to make sure you get the key points. So ketones produce what? 38% more?
No, ketones produce more energy per molecule, per ATP, when we're talking about the Krebs cycle. And I want to keep it simple, but when our body, if we don't eat anything, our bodies die, right? If we're on a desert island, there's no fish or vegetation, our body gets all of its nutrients and vitamins from foods that we eat. Our body does not make it itself. But when we're talking about ketones, it's super simple. If I eat an orange, I get glucose. If I eat a donut, I get glucose. If I eat olives, if I eat nuts or seeds, I get ketones. And ketones can be one of 3. Beta hydroxybutyrate, we're just calling it BHB today. BHB is the most highest efficient one because ketones provide more fuel for the body, doesn't require insulin, crosses a blood-brain barrier, and again, it's just more efficient. But I think the media's caused us to consume more carbohydrates. They definitely, the pyramid that was taught in the 70s and 80s didn't help us along. But it's super simple. Ketones are a byproduct of fat metabolism. You eat stuff like fats and you get ketones. Very, very simple.
Nice. Okay, so next is
Ketosis.
what is ketosis? So we know what ketones are. So
Right.
what is ketosis?
So ketosis, by a definition, is just an elevated state of ketones in our blood. If we're eating a diet high in carbohydrates and low in fats, we're not going to get them elevated up enough. We're still going to have a lot more glucose because we're getting our fuel, or if we're eating our dish like a burger and fries and soda, there's really minimal fat in there. It's more carbohydrates, so we'll find more glucose in our blood. But if I'm eating a diet, say a beautiful Mediterranean salad with olives and feta cheese and onions and olive oil, that's mostly fat. So you're going to find an elevated level of ketones in my body. But what happens is we have to really get rid of all of our stored carbohydrates in order to get the ketone level elevated. So in the history of time, or the last 100 years, we've had to go on a very, very minimal low-carb diet, almost less than 3 or 5% carbohydrates. And
Which is hard.
Yeah, and it takes your body weeks to months to get into that state. So to get the benefits of ketones, which are neural protection, balancing our blood sugar, better thinking, better sleeping, fat loss, all these benefits, we've had to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get that. And now we know there's actually a better alternative. So ketones are just a byproduct of fat metabolism. Ketosis is an elevated state of blood ketones that nutritionally can take 2 to 4 weeks for our body to endogenously, which makes it inside and get there. So it's a super conversation, just like we talk about glucose or diabetes. Ketosis is just an elevated state of blood ketones.
Nice. So
she didn't say awesome. Do you notice on the other one she said awesome all the time, and that was nice.
Nice. Well,
So maybe I didn't
like,
answer that right.
No, I was just thinking like, Well, because the reason I said nice, because I was thinking about
I was just
keto flu.
joking.
But no, I really was, because my brain was already thinking
And I don't call it keto flu, I call it carb flu.
carb flu. But
Because when
a lot of people don't feel good when they're trying to do it nutritionally.
Well, or they're taking away the junk food. Just think of an alcoholic when you cut out alcohol. If you're eating a diet high in carbohydrates and processed foods, it's not the fat making you sick. It's
the sugar.
It's actually the depletion of sugar in your body, or you withdrawing from having all those sugars, because sugars keep your blood sugar really high. It releases dopamine. It stimulates our adrenals to make epinephrine, norepinephrine. So a lot of things happen when our body's running high on sugar. When you take those away, you kind of get that true feeling. You know, people eat sugar when they're tired, when they're happy, when they're sad. So you take away that high amount of carbohydrates, producing glucose, using insulin, we aren't going to feel good.
That's true, because I try to eat, I definitely do not do a strict ketogenic diet. I will fully admit that. I enjoy food too much. But I do try to eat higher fat, low carb. And I try to say as low carb as I can throughout the day. And if I do carbs, I'll do them with dinner when we're eating as a family. But on mornings that I do have a higher carb diet, I am hungry all day long.
Yeah.
So you're saying the science supports that.
Right, because fats are more efficient fuel. They give 38% more energy, so they're going to last hours longer. If I have bacon and eggs and sauteed spinach or an avocado on a piece of ham or something like that, I'm going to have energy for hours. If I have a bowl of oatmeal, which is only 100 calories, I'm going to be hungry within 30 minutes, because you put it in there, my insulin level spiked, and then the whole cycle starts again. I'm hungry.
So you're going all day long.
And you just keep snacking and eating and snacking and eating. That's what we see with kids wanting that snack before bedtime if they had a pasta dinner with bread. And the great news is, when I was in school, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't Pinterest, there wasn't all these great food things. But now, when you're talking low carb, high fat, there's so many avenues from social media that actually can help you on that journey. Lots of blogs, lots of Facebook groups, but you just have to find what your favorite foods are and substitute them. Like, I think, are you doing like a Zanoodler clinic at the Kansas
Oodles of Zoodles. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, so I'm doing an actual class. I teach at the Culinary Center in downtown Overland Park here in Kansas City.
Look at me.
And I'm doing 2 different classes. One it's like a mommy me class, but for kids ages 8 to 14 to come in with their parent, and I'll teach them how to use the spiralizer. And then in August, I'm doing one just for adults, because it's amazing how much, like, my kids love zoodles, and I was kind of scared of them. So it's zucchini, and I'm spiralizing them. I turn them in a little machine. It's fabulous. You put whatever, like last night we did one, it was caprese zoodle pasta, and it was cherry tomatoes that I cut in half, fresh mozzarella cheese. You could always do tofu if you're, well, that's soy, but you wouldn't want to. And then the zucchini. And then I marinated it all in balsamic vinegar, olive oil, dried tarragon, and a little bit of freeze-dried shallots.
So your carbohydrates were super low and super nutritious because they were from a vegetable.
Correct.
And then you had really high fat, so it's a perfect substitution for what we're used to. I have to tell you, before I have my Zanoodler, I actually just use my carrot peeler. Because you can take the backside of your carrot peeler and then make nice little fat linguine noodles, or for lasagna, and peel it that way. But I will let you know, I have a blog called Ask Dr. Heather, and I have an Amazon store there just because it's all my favorite cooking utensils and favorite ingredients. Instead of cooking with like bleached and rich flour, I use almond flour, coconut flour, lots of recipes and stuff back there. But like you say, people get really confused because there is so much in the media, but it's super simple. Ketones a byproduct of fat metabolism, and you start just simply substituting your favorite, like your noodles, for your other type of stuff.
Okay, so this is one I get all the time, and we've kind of addressed it, but I just want to put it out exactly the way I get it sent to me in text messages and emails and personal conversations with people. So, how does BHB work? Another plane, another beautiful day. So how does BHB, so again, the beta hydroxybutyrate, the main ingredient in Keto OS, work in the process of producing ketones? I guess I just don't understand what this is.
And I actually get this question often from my family and friends, and actually my patients, because they're trying to make it too hard. If you drink a soda, you're just like, oh, I love Coke, I'm getting sugar. You don't look at, you're getting caramel coloring, all those other things. Beta hydroxybutyrate is a breakdown of fats, just like vitamin C can come from oranges or lemons or things like that. So when our body eats fat, our liver pulls them apart and we get beta hydroxybutyrate. So BHB doesn't produce ketones, it is a ketone. So Keto OS, for our viewers out there that don't know it, Keto OS is just a mixture of ketone salts. It's already broken down. You simply drink it and it goes into your body. Just like an insulin, a person who's type 1 type 1 diabetic uses insulin and puts it straight into their arm. They don't have time to eat a donut and things, their blood sugar's dropping. They use it exogenously. This is an exogenous ketones. This is not making ketones in your body. It's giving your body ketones within 20 minutes.
That's awesome. So, see, I said awesome again. There we go. So then, so we know that Keto S is not actually producing the ketones.
Yeah.
Where actually they are the ketone.
Yeah.
So how can they be used for energy in a diet that is not low enough in carbs to spur endogenous ketones?
Okay, I didn't look at this question before because we are just going off of our cuff on the sunroom, but Katie printed up a few things that she had gotten on her inbox. Our body can work in a dual fuel situation.
Correct.
So I can have olives on my salad and my body will use the carbohydrates from the lettuce and the olives from that. So your body can run on a dual fuel source. I've been a long distance runner, and that first mile, when you say you hit the wall, like you run the first 2 or 3 miles, hit the wall and you transfer over. So the first bit, you don't feel so good, your first 2 miles are bad, you're actually using carbohydrates. When you go through the wall or over the wall, however you say
when it gets easier to keep
yeah,
going.
and you feel like the Energizer Bunny and you could go on till tomorrow, that's when you're using fat for fuel, because you're going to have more oxygen, more energy. So your body can burn both at both times, but the difference is if I'm trying to do a low carb, high fat diet, but I'm still having too many fats, like from nuts and seeds and avocados, I actually could gain weight because it's excess calories. Where when I use Keto OS, I'm going to get all the benefits of beta hydroxybutyrate neuroprotection. It's going to balance my blood sugar. It's going to make me feel fuller. So you can't have a diet or use them together. And this is I would say the number one hardest concept, because before, to get ketones in our body,
Listen up, Paul.
before we had Keto OS, to get ketones in our body, we had to be on almost a starvation diet, almost 5% and then 80% fat. But it's really tricky. So if I went out and had a 16-ounce steak, and actually proteins break down into carbohydrate storage nonetheless through gluconeogenesis, I could actually gain weight through that. Or I would be out of ketosis, which would take me 3 or 4 days. People who've tried the HCG diet, same thing. They've got to be really, really low, low carb, no fat, low protein, and if they even eat an almond or an olive, it'll throw them out of ketosis.
Right.
The same thing's true for natural ketosis. This is the first time ever that diet independent, so that means no matter what you eat, if I eat cakes and cookies and pies,
She's not saying do that.
I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying, though, it works diet independent. I simply drink it. It goes into my bloodstream, and I get the benefits of ketones, which is the number one is beta hydroxybutyrate. But we always suggest a low carb, high fat, non-processed. But if you have to start somewhere, it's wonderful for helping digestion. It's wonderful for helping decrease cravings. People sleep better. But that is the thing that you should take home today, is that I can do this even if my diet isn't perfect. I can drink Keto OS even if I'm having cravings, or I'm having poor sleep patterns, or if I just can't put the chips down. You're still going to get the benefits of ketones.
And I've had even a lot of friends that have used it as an appetite suppressant and to use it to help with cravings. I'm not saying that's what it's designed to do, but they tell me, they're like, oh, I really want to give up the sugar. Like, they want to start on ketones and they want to go sugar free.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't you drink the ketones and let the elevated blood ketone levels decrease your desire for the sugar.
Right. So what happens when we crave things is that sugar cycle we talked about. There's lots of hormones and lots of biochemistry. If we eat a sugar, it goes up and down, where if we can put ketones in between our carbohydrate cravings, it will actually diminish the cravings because it stabilizes the sugar. The rise or drop in sugar is what causes the craving, because the sweet things tag your brain, the blood sugar goes up and down, and hypoglycemia is a terrible feeling, and elevated blood sugar is a terrible feeling, so people just grab quick bits. But if you're trying to transition over and say you didn't have the perfect breakfast, you can still drink Keto OS or drink ketone salts mixed in water or whatever, and you're going to be able to get that balance, and it will start transitioning over to stopping the cravings, going longer between meals, sleeping better, and being able to say no much quicker.
So no different than you still take a multivitamin on the morning you have a donut.
Yeah.
Simple. So simple.
Yeah, and I would ask, that's a perfect thing. I mean, how many people are taking lots of
Fish
digestive
oil
digestive enzymes and probiotics, and they're still having their margarita, chips, and beer and pizza? But you're still getting the benefits of probiotic.
Yeah. Would never.
We wouldn't either. But yeah, that's a great thing. You can just drink it and get the benefits.
Nice. All right, awesome. Well, I think that kind of covers it. So basically, in a nutshell, BHBs are nothing to be scared of. They're produced naturally, and we can start drinking them and then allow our body to help us with our cravings as we get better at adapting.
Yep.
So it's really that simple. Isn't that awesome? All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. As always, I hope you enjoy listening to Dr. Heather as much as I do. I do talk to her almost every day, so we're at that point now. But I just have loved getting to know her and her knowledge, and I love that we have the opportunity to share all of this with y'all. So talk to you soon, and have an awesome spring day. Bye.
Bye-bye.